Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Whatever time you're watching this from, or wherever you're watching this from. Sorry, I gotta get this thing right. So today I got a fun video. Oh, fun for me. Fun video for me today. So over the course of the past couple of days, we've been talking about this EBT and food stamps, and so like the EBT and food stamps, I've been voicing my opinion on. I feel bad for the recipients that need food stamps. The 41 million Americans, all Americans, that need food stamps, right? Now, of course, I don't get food stamps. Um, and this is not a hit on anybody that does get food stamps. Because if you go and watch any of my previous videos, if you're fortunate enough to go watch them, or if you have the extra time, you can go back and you can watch these videos. And you can see my thoughts on the recipients that have to receive the SNAP benefits, either welfare or whatever, right? They're Americans. They're human beings. So this video today is talking about the bigger issue that food stamps and the EBT crisis have brought out, and the welfare crisis and things have actually brought out. That's what I'll make this video about. And later on in the video, make sure you watch all the way to the end, because I'm going to put in the exact examples of exactly what I mean, exactly what I'm talking about. So with that being said, we're going to get into it. Now, I'm going to start off with this. I don't receive food stamps. I'm not eligible to receive food stamps. I'm not eligible to receive welfare or whatever, right? Um, I don't have any children, and I've been working or I've had a job consistently since I was 15 years old. I'm 27 years old at this point. Since I was 15, I've been working. My first job, I worked under the table, right? I didn't make a lot of money, but I still had to contribute to my household. I still wanted to get out and hustle for myself. I've never been a person that wants to sit around, have ever wanted to sit around and just depend on anybody else for anything else, right? I mean, whenever you're a child, hopefully you can depend on your parents. And I was fortunate enough to actually grow up in the house with both of my parents. I was also fortunate enough to grow up with a lot of siblings, right? But there's never been a time that my parents wasn't present. Okay, never been a time that they wasn't present in my life. I'm fortunate, and I'm not bragging. I'm not bragging. I'm just realizing the actual situation. I'm realizing the situation. I was able to grow up with both of my parents, because both of my parents have always been hardworking citizens ever since they have ever even thought about kids, right? So they've always been working. They've always had jobs. My father has always taught me, to have a job, to work, to be able to actually fend for yourself, right? Now that I got that out of the way, I just want to point out, right, the this crisis and showing emotion for other human beings and Americans, um, it's really brought out the racists, right? It's really gave racists an incentive to actually come out and show their true colors against Americans, against citizens, not just illegal immigrants, right? It started off like that. It was just illegal immigrants, but now they're turning their hatred, and it's not that it hasn't always been there, because I know a lot of these people, they're idiots. Their grandfathers or their fathers or their mothers have taught them to be racist, and they don't think for themselves. They don't even listen. They listen with their eyes and not their ears. So if that's not you, I'm not talking about you, but there is a large crowd or percentage of white Americans, and even Hispanic Americans, that are racist, extremely racist. And the even bigger problem is that they don't look at citizens and human beings like they're human beings. So, like I said before, keep watching. I'm gonna put the examples in the video. So now that I've got that out of the way, me expressing my hurt and pain for the Americans, 40 million Americans that were on the verge of losing their food stamps, and still it's a little bit rocky. They're on the verge of losing their food stamps, not being able to feed their children, not being able to feed themselves, right? Now, the common misconception is like what I see from a lot of these racist people is all the food stamp recipients are black, or the majority of them are black. Now, I'll address this. There is a large portion of black Americans that do receive food stamps. They are on welfare, right? But there's even a larger amount of white Americans that are on these SNAP benefits, and they're actually the true recipients of welfare, SNAP benefits, food stamps, whatever you want to call them, right? They have crime rates, large crime rates, and that's by default, right? By default, because the population is larger of white Americans than any other population in America. So, but this video is to show you how blind racism is, how blinded, and how racism is truly it's blinding, because a lot of these people, they claim they're Americans. They claim they're for America first, right? They claim they love Americans, they love this country. But before, it was turn on the illegal immigrants. But now it's Donald Trump's in office. We're going to support Mawa, make America white again, not make America great again, make America white again. So that's the new movement that the majority of Trump supporters are, that's what they care about. Now, I'm not talking about the individuals that are black that voted for Trump, or the individuals that eyes are open, that are actually open, and they love all people because they truly love the country. I'm talking about the Mawa, the Make America White Again people, right? That would much rather this country just be nothing but white people. If they could push out all the Hispanic people, if they could push out all the Indian people, if they could push out all the black people, if they could push out all the Muslims, all the whoever else, right? The Chinese, everything, right? If that was the case for them, if they had it the way that they wanted it to be, all of us would be gone. And that is the truth. Because the underlying agenda is to make America white again. Because they refuse to talk about the fact, right? They pinpoint so much about how there's such a large amount of black people on welfare, black people on SNAP benefits, and all the other people. They even hate their own kind. They even hate white people as well. But it's the ones that are lesser than them, right? And you'll see in my examples. But the problem is that they don't look to actual facts, right? They don't look at facts and say, okay, maybe there's a reason why certain people are on these things. Maybe there's a reason why certain people need these benefits, or whatever the case may be. They look past that because they're so blinded by their racism that they refuse to actually understand the truth. Or maybe they know the truth, but they just don't care. They just want to look past it because they would rather America just be solid white again. Okay. Which, truth be told, America's never been just solid white, ever. But they want to make America white, pretty much. I just use the catchy slogan, "Make America White Again," because it rolls off the tongue. But also, with that being said, they refuse to look at the fact that and I'm not talking about slavery here, because we're not slaves. We do have, as black Americans, we do have opportunities to do whatever we want to do. But the problem is, countless times, over and over and over and over and over again, white people fail to look at the fact that there have been systemic racism pushed upon black people and other races and other minorities, right? Such as trying to take away from our voting rights, even like Lake Lanier in Georgia. Pretty much, Lake Lanier. If you don't know the story of Lake Lanier, go watch the movie. There's a movie called Lake Lanier. Shout out to that movie. It's a really good, informative movie, right? So it's about basically a town of black people, right? That, or a community of black people, a town that started to build their own thing so they could separate themselves, right? Because white people don't want us around. They didn't want us. They had their white only stores back in the day. There, if you was black, you had to come in through the back. You had to sit on the back of the bus, such as Rosa Parks, all that stuff. They hated Martin Luther King. They hated Malcolm X. They hated everybody else. So everybody that was black. So for that being said, right, they failed to realize that there's reasons why black people act the way they act. And I'm not talking about the people that are in drug-ridden communities right now and they still choose to sell drugs and things of that nature, because that's just not something I agree with. There's a lot of people there's a lot of black men that are fatherless, but there's also a lot of white men that are fatherless. And that's what they fail to realize. There's a lot of white men and all this stuff. And now, when you look at our population, there's only 41 million black people in America. So when you look at our population, yes, there's very high numbers, high statistics of crime, violence, all the things. But you can't leave out the fact that white people commit the very same crimes. They do everything just as well as we do in a large scale, or if not even a larger scale. And that's the truth, right? They go off old statistics. They go off things that they want to see, because they don't care about what's true. It's about what you can make people believe. The power of perception. So it's not about what is actually true. It's about what they want to believe and what they can make other people around them believe, such as like your grandfather or whatever telling you that black people are beneath you, telling you Hispanics, Mexicans are beneath you, everybody else is beneath you. Correct? Right. That's a systematic error. Or I won't even say that's a systematic error. The systematic error is them suppressing black people. Every time black people want to do anything, such as the Lake Lanier town, right? They want to build it up to separate themselves from the white people, and so they can actually own stuff that they're self and have things for their self, so they can have a fighting chance after being suppressed from slavery for so many years. When people decide, like, okay, well, we're not going to just solely focus on slavery, we're just going to build for our own. Just like the town in Lake Lanier, every time black people try to build something up or get close to them, or do stuff for their own self, so they can be thriving and have their own businesses, have their own towns, have their own whatever, it's the same thing that happened with Lake Lanier. They drowned it out. They burned it down. They drowned it out. So every single time a black person wants to have anything in the country, even an equal opportunity, they burn it down. They tear it down, because they don't care, because they hate everybody. They hate Americans. They hate Americans. So as you'll see in some of these examples, they hate Americans. They hate the white Americans that are poorer than them. They hate Mexican people. They hate black people. They even hate themselves. So that's what this video is about. It's just about the bigger problem that the food stamps, it's not the food stamp recipients. It's not none of those people. Those people that actually need the stuff, a lot of them are hardworking people. They keep saying it over and over and over again. A lot of people are full-time workers, but these people don't watch the news. They just look, they listen with their eyes. They don't watch the news. They don't look at the facts. They don't do research. They don't care. And then they turn around and scream that everybody is just, oh, you just look at the media, or you just look at this, or you need to do your research, or they lead by, they lash out and they call you names out of your name. They say you're not American. They say you don't belong here. They say you don't do this, you don't do that, right? So that's what this video is about. It's about the people that will never allow our country to actually truly be great. That's the problem. It'll never be make America great again, because you hate America. You hate the Americans in America. It's not just the illegal immigrants that are impeding on you. There's literally white people. So the population of black people, like I said before, 41 million. The population of white people is at least 200 million. There's 300 million people in America, right? So you will still have, with those facts, with the population facts, you still have white people that say black people are trying to take away from white people. They're trying to degrade white people. They're trying to take down white people. They're trying to depopulate white people. And in reality, that's not even possible for black people to do in reality. So we live so rent-free in their heads. They just don't want us to have anything, so much to the point where it's like, they're even commenting on my videos telling me I don't belong in here. I'm not a real American, right? They're still talking about slavery. I'm not even talking about slavery. I've been working since I was 15 years old. I don't care about slavery because me personally, I'm not a slave. I mean, we're all technically modern day slaves to society, but I'm not a physical slave that works in the cotton field that goes and picks cotton. But these people can't see past their own racism to see that, because when they see me, you know what they see, which I'm not going to say it for you two, but when they see you and you're black, that's all you are. You're just black. You're not equal. You're not nothing. You're not political. You're not anything. You're black. And so even those people that are running right up under the MAGA hats and all that stuff, the black people, the black Trump supporters that are, you know, wearing the make America great again hats. All those people, those idiots. I'm not gonna say you're idiots for supporting the president and the party, but you're an idiot for supporting a party that also wants to make America just white again. They don't want you here. If it wasn't for your vote, right? The only thing they want is your vote. Now that they got your vote, they don't care about you. And a lot of white people are starting to wake up and see that. And a lot of white people have been noticing it for years. Now, fun fact, I actually grew up in Kentucky, which is predominantly a white state. I grew up in Kentucky, but a lot of people wouldn't care to hear past what I'm actually saying, right? Because they don't listen with their ears. Like I said before in my last video, my great grandma was a white woman, a purely white woman. But they don't care about that because they see the color of my skin now, and it's really they hate the melanin. It's not that they hate me. They just hate this, right? It's that they hate this because I'm an American. I'm a person just like everybody else is. But I understand that they'll never. It's like beating a dead horse, right? It's like just throwing rocks at a wall and they're just ricocheting back off because it's like they're not gonna understand past their racism because they're so blinded by that, right? And a lot of these people call themselves Christians, right? And they say that they believe in God and they believe in this and that and they believe in all this stuff. So the reality of it is there's no possible way you could be a true American, a true patriot, a true whatever, and hating everybody in America. So that's all that is. If it was anything else, right? They'd rather make America white again. So, it really hurts because I've grown up with a lot of great white people, a lot of loving white people that don't see color. They don't lead by color. They don't lead by none of that stuff, right? Even if their families, they was born into it. They was born into racism. A lot of them were. A lot of them were born into racism, but the beauty of those people, they had a mind of their own. They decided to think for themselves. They decided to actually listen to the case by case scenario. And I'm not gonna say there's not bad criminals that are black, and I'm not gonna say that there's not white criminals that are bad that are white or Chinese and so on and so forth. Right? It may be lower percentages and numbers or whatever, but the fact of the matter is crime is crime. Situations are situations, and they should be handled situation by situation. Shit. But I'm not talking to the racist people because it's like I don't care to explain myself to somebody that's racist. Like, you don't need to know I work or whatever the case may be. I'll let you think whatever you want to think, because the problem is you're going to think whatever you want to think regardless of whatever I say. Regardless, whatever any black person says, it's no point in trying to educate somebody that has their mind made up on you already. So I didn't want to make this video too long, but it's something I'm passionate about, and I just wanted to address it because for a minute I did not even want to give it my time, but I also wanted these people I wanted to shed light on the situation so nobody forgets that racism is alive and well in America, and there's certain parties and politics that give them an incentive to push their racist agendas on you, and a lot of the times it's to hurt black people, because it's like I do see them hating other races, but it's like black people get it the most, and it's like I don't know if it's just the skin color, I don't know what it is, but that's what I'm assuming it is. They hate this, they hate the melanin, they hate my clear skin, they hate that I can grow a full beard. I mean, they hate that I look good. I can't help that. That's not that. You blame my parents for that, but I keep myself up, right? I choose to educate myself. If I'm wrong, I'm able to say that I'm wrong. I don't look at people as you're white, so you're different. I don't look at people and say you're Mexican, so you're different. I don't do any of that stuff because I'm a person, you're a person, and I feel like every person should be judged on the content of their character, like it should have been, like what Martin Luther King was trying to say, when they said he had a dream and he was assassinated for that. So that's what it is, right? It's not make America great again. It's make America white again. If it was up to them. And so if you happen to see this video, if you just do me, be so kind as to like, subscribe, share the video, comment if you feel compelled enough to. I love you guys. I'm out. Check out these examples.